All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Adams Brothers Podcast, the hottest podcast in the Tri County area here in South Florida. Happy Hump Day to each and every last one of you watching out there in Facebook land and YouTube land. Thank you for joining us. We are joined here with the Honorable Mayor Todd Drosky. The last time he was on our podcast, he was running for mayor, and he has since been elected mayor of the beautiful city of Deerfield Beach, Florida. So, Mayor Todd Drosky, welcome back to the Adams Brothers Podcast.
Thank you, Daryl. Thank you, Wayne. I appreciate the opportunity to come back and to talk to you and your audience. And first and foremost, thank you to the voters of Deerfield Beach for having the confidence in electing me as your new mayor for the next 4 years. I look forward to tackling some of the issues we have in our city, and I trust me that we've rolled up our sleeves from day one and we're working on a series of issues, and we're not going to take anything idle for the next 4 years.
Well, that's good, and congratulations to you. Like I said,
right.
you were the last time you were here. You were as a commissioner, and you were running. You were a candidate for mayor, and again, you've since won that election, and you've hit the ground. You're running, taking off. So, how has it been? Your first since March, April, May, June, the first 90 days in office. How's it been being the mayor?
Quite honestly, it's very different being in the center of that dais than on the side as commissioner. You know, you're given the opportunity to speak when called on by the mayor. So there's an opportunity to collect your thoughts, to kind of engage with the audience, change my notes, when necessary, depending on how the conversation is going and some comments that may have been made by the public. But now in the middle, you're the center of attention the entire time. You're deciding, when my colleagues get to speak, when the public gets to speak, keeping the flow of the meeting. So you have to be on your A game all of the time. And it's been a great opportunity, and I'm growing into the role. And I think there's a new flavor at City, Hall, how the meetings are run, which is, not a knock on anybody. It's just certainly, I have my own style, my own personality. And so I think the meetings are going a certain way. And we're growing into it. I think the first 90 days have been very enthusiastic. And like I said, we've started hitting the ground running. One of the main things that I was running on was the Dixie Highway, which was not what I wanted to really talk about to you guys tonight about, but I'll tee it up that we're really working behind the scenes to make sure that is one of the top priorities in the next 4 years, is to make sure that the city is doing everything it can in its role to make sure that we are bringing in new businesses and opportunities to that corridor.
Yes. Thank you.
That's good because
it needs some attention.
It needs some attention. It's been many, many years since that corridor has been developed. We used to call it the old Front Street, where it was a long stretch of black businesses down there, and that's been many years ago. And it's time to see some development and some movement along Dixie Highway. We're all waiting on it. I understand that there's some property owners there that probably don't want to sell and may be interested in leasing, but something eventually we need to see some movement along Dixie Highway.
That's what I think people want to see, movement. Something
we do, and we'll see that movement. So a couple of things to get there is, one is what you're seeing publicly is we've already had some workshops to engage the public on Dixie Highway. The first series of workshops that we had engaging the public and the businesses is, what would you like to see on Dixie Highway? Kind of a high level opportunity, and we had a series of workshops, some that were in large groups, some were that in small groups. And out of that came a report of what in general the community wants to see along Dixie Highway. Now is when we start peeling back more layers of that onion, when we start figuring out, what can we do to implement those changes that the residents want to see and the businesses that we want there. What code regulations can the city enact to help spurn, business along there? And that's what we're getting into right now. So those are things that we're doing publicly, and there's a couple things, privately that I'm working on behind the scenes that I think will be helpful too. So give me some time. I'm 90 days into it. Rome wasn't built in a day, but I can promise you I'm working very hard. I have not taken a day off, believe it or not, since the election or even before the election. There's just been too much going on citywide to take any time off. The people's business comes first.
Well, you know what I told you out at the Juneteenth festivities. You need me to show you how to take some days off, and I'm pretty good at that. And I told you at some point your body starts to shut down, and you have a vice mayor. Find you a couple days off, and go and with your girlfriend, and go and enjoy a couple days off. And Deerfield Beach will be here when you get back. So find that time. Look, I've been living here all my life, my brother. We don't mind you taking a few days off. We all need a vacation. So Mayor Todd Drosky, find you a couple days off, and find you a couple days and take off and enjoy yourself.
You'll need but 3-4 days.
You have my permission.
Well, since you gave me the permission, then I'll do it. So I appreciate that, and I do look forward to a couple of days, but really not until the beginning of July, which is what I wanted to really talk to you about tonight. Was a couple issues with respect to not only the state budget but the city budget as well. So if I could talk about the state budget first.
Sure. Absolutely.
So you may know the state legislature went into overdrive with their budget. The session was supposed to end back into the end of March, and it didn't, and so they had difficulty coming up with the budget. So just the other night, I believe it was on Friday, at the 11th hour, I'm sorry, it wasn't Friday. It was today's Wednesday. So I think it was Monday night that they actually passed the budget, $115 billion budget. And what's important to that is the city of Deerfield Beach had 2 appropriations requests in the budget, and it's a leaner budget than in past years. So getting appropriations requests by the legislature is getting more and more difficult. So we had a very strategic plan in the city of Deerfield Beach that we had 2 asks for the legislature this year. The first one was our Center for Active Aging and the Alzheimer's Center. We have received funding from the state for at least the last decade on that project. So that's a little easier to justify with the state, since we've had recurring funding for that project over the last decade. And it's very hard to argue against Alzheimer's, to be honest with you. So that project made the budget again this year. And remember, it's not as easy as it sounds, because you have a House and you have a Senate. And so you have to have sponsors on both sides. And they both have to get it into their individual budgets, and then it has to be reconciled. The two sides have to reconcile one budget to present and to get vote on. So there's many opportunities for your projects to get cut throughout the process. If you don't make one side or the other, you're out. If you don't make the combined bill, you're out. Now that the budget is passed, the governor has a line item veto. If he vetoes your project, you're out. So it's not as easy. It's very difficult, but I'm very comfortable with our Alzheimer's Active Aging Center project making it through the entire process. And the second project that we picked this year was very strategic as well, as there's some public land down by Tedder, the school, which is vacant, which we'd like to turn into a pocket park. It's not kept as well as it should be, and it causes kids to loiter that really shouldn't be loitering there. So if we put a park on it where parents are bringing their children, it'll give it an opportunity to spruce up that area, and it's right next to the school, so it's a public safety issue as well. So we asked for some funding from the state to help us put a pocket park down by Tedder as well. And I'm really proud to say that, we have a great staff in the city of Deerfield Beach, led by our city manager, Rodney Brimlow and Jonathan Salas. They were very active in getting and making sure that we were doing everything we could with the legislature to make sure that those two projects made the final budget, and I'm proud to say that it did. The final budget that passed includes both of Deerfield's projects. I don't know of any other city that can say their projects made the cut. So now we are still subject to the governor's veto uh, on or before June 30th. So he has a much shorter window to evaluate projects this year than in past years. So in the next couple of weeks, we'll know if we made the final cut for those two projects. But at least we're in the game. At least we can have this conversation, and our residents should really be proud that we've got two projects in the mix that look like we have a really good shot at getting through.
That's a really good thing
Right.
for the Center for Active Aging, the funding for the Alzheimer's and all of that stuff, because uh, uh, we have a neighbor that's going through dealing with dementia, Alzheimer's, and he really needs some help.
Yeah.
And his wife is unable to, walk and can't really, see after him. And when he starts to wander around, but he needs help, and they can't afford to pay for it out of their pocket. They're living on a fixed income, so hopefully there will be some programs over there at the Center for Active Aging that will help or assist people like our neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
There are, and I encourage, if you have loved ones or friends or neighbors with dementia issues, to visit the Center for Active Aging and see how they can help. We certainly have that center there, and that's what it's for. I mean, listen, as the population, as we live longer, dementia issues are going to become more common, because one of the factors for dementia is living longer. So as we continue to live longer, there's going to be more people, and I don't think there's anyone listening to this broadcast that either doesn't have a family member affected by dementia or a loved one that they know of. So it affects everybody from all walks of life. It doesn't discriminate on who you are, whether you're rich or poor or not. It affects all of us. And so this is definitely going to be more of a problem as we continue. And so our Center for Active Aging right here in the city of Deerfield Beach is a resource that I hope a lot of people take, that one, they're now aware of it, and two, that they take advantage of it.
Yes.
No doubt.
We're definitely keeping an eye on that particular one, the Center for Active Aging, because we would love to assist our neighbor in getting some help. He's just a really, really smart man. Just to see him just fade away like that is heartbreaking. So we here over at the Adams Brothers Podcast, we're gonna do everything that we can to help people like that, and anybody else that's out there watching that. If we could help you and assist you and point you in the right direction, we certainly would. So that's a good thing for the city of
Hopefully
Deerfield
the governor
Beach.
don't veto
hopefully
those.
He doesn't veto.
Yeah.
It,
Hopefully they pass.
Yeah, no, we're obviously first of all, thanking the governor's office for making sure that these projects are in the budget and asking that they don't be vetoed. So the other thing is, there was a collaboration of state legislators that made this possible. So you had on the Senate side, you had Tina Polsky, Senator Tina Polsky, who's in Boca Raton. And then you had Dan from the House side. You had Dan Daly from Coral Springs and Chip LaMarca from Lighthouse Point. And that's a mixture of R's and D's. So it was truly a bipartisan effort that these projects are in the state budget. And really, I think Alzheimer's and school safety shouldn't be R&D issues. I mean, just like on the municipal level, roads, water, those aren't R&D issues as well, and neither should schools and Alzheimer's. So I'm glad to see that both sides of the aisle were able to come together and get those projects put forward for Deerfield Beach.
And that's the way it should be. So we want to thank Senator Tina Polsky. I believe that's what you said. Polsky.
Yes, correct.
Dan Daly and Chip LaMarca. So we want to thank each one of those individuals for your participation and helping get this push it on the agenda. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen. We appreciate that here. So is there anything else you'd like to talk to us about?
Yeah, no. So I'll be back on July 1 or after and let you know if they've survived the governor's veto or not. I hope to bring you good news, but we're working very hard behind the scenes to make sure that happens.
Okay. And any updates on Monarch Hill?
So the city, along with Coconut Creek, we have filed. It's called Chapter 167. So in the Florida statutes, is a precursor to filing litigation against the county. You have to go through pre-suit mediation, and that's the process that we are engaged in now. We have notified the county of our intention to engage in the statutory pre-suit mitigation process that's required. Those meetings are being set up. Looks like maybe in August we can have something scheduled. So there's steps that we have to go through to get there, but we are certainly in lockstep with our friends at Coconut Creek and going through with that. So yes, absolutely. Just because you don't hear about it doesn't mean something isn't happening.
What about Pompano? Is Pompano in on this as well?
I think just
They are
Coconut
not
Creek.
yet. They have not joined yet. I can't speak as to why on their behalf, but no, they have not done so. At least not yet.
Okay.
I would love them to, because obviously, you know, the dump borders their city as well.
I was just going to say that that's the city to the south of that landfill, and the city limit is right there on Sample Road. There, the city, the borderline between Deerfield and Pompano is Sample Road, and they're just on the south side of the road, and we are just on the north side, so it affects them too.
Absolutely,
they get the
it does,
same
yes.
stench in the air and the ashes and everything that we get. So I don't see why they wouldn't.
Correct. It's a raw deal the county, you know, imposed upon us, and so we're going to continue to fight that. I mean, it's all in the safety and welfare of our residents. The residents in Independence Bay and Waterways and Century Village and Waterford Homes, in Deerfield Beach out west, they didn't ask for this. When they bought their properties, the height limit was 225 feet. That was the height limit imposed by the county. That's what they bought, knowing that was going to be there. They didn't buy for 325 feet, which is the expansion amount. And that's the horizontal, the vertical limit, you know, also is expanding as well. So it's very, excuse me, the vertical is 325, the horizontal is expanding out as well. So that's not what the residents signed up for. It's a you know, the more garbage that you put there, the heavier that dump gets, the more pressure that you're pushing down and going into the water table. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I've been up there before. When I worked for the city of Deerfield, I went up on top of that hill, and I dumped a few loads of, you know, debris up there, and I could tell you it's so high that you could see
Fort Lauderdale, wasn't it?
Hollywood, Miami.
Yeah.
As far as Hollywood, Florida, you know, way down there, and if it's going to get bigger, you may be able to see Miami. So yeah, so.
Well, I don't know that's not necessarily a good thing, guys, you know. No. So not in our backyard for sure. And so what most people don't realize is that of the 31, there's 31 cities in Broward County, 28 of the 31, they don't use that dump. The garbage goes elsewhere. So
yeah, I didn't know that.
The garbage is already going elsewhere. Our garbage in Deerfield Beach, next door, our garbage does not go there.
Right.
So
I just found that out about a year ago.
Other people's garbage is going there in our backyard. This is just a moneymaker by Waste Management, because they're putting construction and debris. They're saying we're not going to put the stinky garbage in that dump. You know, like the kitchen garbage, the stinky kitchen garbage won't go into the dump. Well, that's fine, because the kitchen garbage hasn't been going there anyway. So you're agreeing to something that's already been happening, and then you're basically double dipping. If you're putting the construction and debris material, you're recycling that. So you're getting money off of the recycling of the construction and debris material. What's left that can't be recycled, you're putting in the dump, and you're getting money off of people using your dump for putting that in there. So you're basically getting two revenue sources off of the same stream, to the detriment of the residents of Deerfield Beach and Coconut Creek.
Yeah. Yes. And thank you for that update. Mayor, do you have time for a few questions? Just some things I wanted to touch on real quick before you leave.
I do, of course. And then I mentioned the state budget. I want to talk about the city budget real quick before we leave, but I'll take, of
Mhm.
course, I'll take your questions.
No, you go on. I want you to
Yeah,
get your
go ahead.
stuff out the way first, and then
Okay, so I talked
I
about the state budget and how we have our two projects that are under consideration that hopefully survive the governor's veto pen by June 30th. But we'll also have our city budget as well. So
Mhm.
we have been planning that for the last couple of months. There will be a workshop on July 9, and there will be a Zoom option to it as well. And that will be the first presentation, to the public for the city budget. But the reason I wanted to come on your podcast, because I know it's
Mhm.
extremely well attended, and a lot of people are saying, hey, I'd like, the city to consider this project, or are we doing this project again next year? Talk to us now. You don't have to wait to the
Mhm.
July 9 budget workshop or in the fall when we have the hearings. Talk to your elected representative now. Talk to your district commissioner. Talk to me as your mayor and say, hey, these are projects that we would like to see, or we have received funding for this in the past. Is this going to be in the budget again? Let's have those discussions now. The more we can discuss in advance, the more we can plan for it. So you're more than welcome to anyone out there to please attend the July 9 workshops and then the commission meetings that we're going to have in September on the budget. But please reach out to us now and feel free to discuss with us. I mean, I just went through a campaign, so my phone number and email address are on probably 20,000 brochures circulating throughout the city. It's on the city's website. I'm not hard to find at all, so please reach out.
Yeah, we see people in the chat saying amphitheater.
I've been really pushing that.
I
I've been really pushing that myself, an amphitheater, because there's so many people that we talk to.
Yeah.
Would love to see a amphitheater here.
Local events for the
someplace.
residents.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen,
the
I don't want to
things
get too
that-
excited. I don't want to let too many cats out of the bag early, but one of the projects that I discussed on your podcast before that was also a priority of mine was a new downtown. You talked about the city hall before. I'm at my day job now. You
Mhm.
can tell by the ceiling tiles
Oh,
there.
yeah.
They're white and they're not brown and discolored like they are over at City Hall. So how we need a new City Hall complex as
Mhm.
well. But of that, I think we can probably get an amphitheater project as well. So I'm very excited about that. So don't give up on the amphitheater. So those of you that are saying amphitheater, I'm on your side, and I like the future.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
And do you anticipate? Because I remember when the first night you were installed, I think you asked the city manager to try to get all that ready for the 2027 election. So you anticipate all the things that you're talking about, the new city hall and all the other Pioneer Grove, then you anticipate most of that stuff going out for referendum or whatever you call it for the voters
Now
in 2027.
that's a separate issue, actually. So
Okay.
the referendum would be for if we needed a bond for our parks and fire stations, because those are in
Okay.
disrepair as well. I mean, the fire stations, the one at Federal in Hillsborough and the one at the beach. I mean, those are just Band-Aid projects at this point in time. So we don't have enough money in our general fund to buy 30-40 million dollar fire stations. So those are definitely going to have to be bond issues. And those, yes, we're still pushing forward to the March 2027 election for those. But the city hall project would actually be a P3 project, a private public partnership with outside entities, and those would not have to go to referendum. I mean, they'd have to go to referendum if we were to sell any of the property, yes. But those are the funding for it would not be for the referendum.
Thank you for clearing that up. I know I remember you directed the city manager that night that you got installed as the mayor. So yeah, thanks for clearing all of that up.
I remind him regularly. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and I like I always say, some people will ask about a location for the amphitheater, and I was like, oh, if the location that might be that everyone might be thinking of, if that doesn't work, I have a alternative that I would talk to you about, everyone about, and I'll just keep that to myself for right now. But we'll just keep watching and hoping for right now that we will bring an amphitheater here.
Because
So
they're
there
saying in the
you go.
chat, but where?
But
Mike
where?
Dennis.
Yeah, where? But
Mike
where?
Dennis said, but where?
I have a
So-
place, Mike Dennis, that I have a really good place in my mind that I think would work if all else fails. So just keep hope alive, okay?
And Mel,
Absolutely. I
you
think
can
everyone will
continue
be
on, Mel.
I think everyone will be very happy with what we're working on. Yes, but we will have when we get close. I mean, listen, we're going to do everything with public input. This is not going to be a surprise. This is not something that's just going to appear one day.
Yeah.
There's going to be many opportunities for the public to make their voices heard, to also tell us what they want to see and where, and to make sure that it's congruent with the neighborhood. So there's going to be many opportunities, many workshops, many charrettes for the public to come out. This is not something that's going to be a surprise. So I want to make sure that everyone listening is very clear that this is not going to be a surprise. We're going to make sure that you are definitely involved in the process.
Okay. That's good enough. We're gonna leave it right there. Go ahead, Wayne.
Yeah, no, I want Mel to finish. I want him to finish everything he got first, and then I'll go with what I have.
Those were the big issues I wanted to discuss with you guys, were the state budget and the city budget, just to make sure that those were out there, that, hey, reach out to us anytime that you want regarding the city budget, and we'll keep you apprised on the state budget. But if you have other questions, what's going on in the city, I'd be more than happy to talk to you. Sure.
Yes. And, one is, Mayor, we've seen over the years the rising costs of public safety, which I believe BSO makes up 60% of our budget. Pompano Beach pays, I think I saw $63 million they pay for BSO services. The cost of public safety is continuing to rise. And I know, like I say again, if I remember the pie graph, it was 60% of Deerfield Beach budget. What can we do as a city, and you as the mayor, as a collective body, do to try to, and I know the cost of public safety, as I told Vice Mayor Preston on our last podcast, I know public safety is going up every day across, not just here in Broward County, but across the state, across the country. What can we do to try to get a handle on the rising costs of public safety? And I'm specifically talking about the Broward Sheriff Office rising costs here in Deerfield Beach.
So you are correct that public safety is 60% of our budget, but that's not atypical. That's normal for, pardon me, most municipalities in South Florida. So that's an average number. So we are no different than any other city in that regard. But public safety is going up. We received, just like Pompano Beach, notification from the sheriff that our bill is going up. The problem is that the bill is going up higher than what our contract allows for. There's a 5%. We have a contract with the sheriff's office that allows for a maximum 5% raise every year. And so the raise that the sheriff has requested from us is over 10%.
Oh, wow.
And I believe Pompano, I don't remember Pompano's number, but their number was way more than ours. It was, I think theirs is over 20%. It was an obscene number,
Wow.
to be honest with you. So
Wow.
it's
That's a
very
lot of money.
large.
That's
It's
a lot of money.
money.
A
So
lot
what
of
we have to
people
do
are
is,
worried about. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, but we have to just make sure that the sheriff lives up to his contractual obligations under the contract, and make sure that we don't get stuck with an increase that is more than the 5%. And so you have to kind of peel back those layers of the onion too, to figure out, well, what's going on with the increase? Why are we getting such a large increase from the sheriff's office? And that's why we have our Department of Public Safety, and we have a new director there, Sean Gladio, and I hope you have him on your broadcast someday soon to talk about it. But it's really, pardon me, his job to negotiate with the sheriff's office the contract, and to point out to them some of the costs that we're not getting credit for. And I'll give you one small example, and it's a minor example, but if you multiply this over many times, it makes a big difference. So under our contract with BSO, the city of Deerfield Beach, we're responsible for purchasing new vehicles for the deputies, which is fine. We want them to have, the safety and the equipment that they need to do their job. I'm okay with that. The problem is that the vehicle that we're now not using goes back to the sheriff's office, but we do not get a credit for that. So if they were to sell the old vehicle, and I'm just making up an amount off the top of my head,
Yeah.
say for 5,000, 10,000. Just use 10,000 because it's a nice round number. If they sell it for 10,000, that 10,000 is not a credit back to the city of Deerfield Beach. So those are things that we need to look out for and protect the residents going forward under the contract. So I'm confident the Office of Public Safety will be looking at those nuances in the contract, and that way we can keep those costs as minimal as possible to the residents that you were talking about. So
Right.
yes, costs are going to go up, but we have an ability to fight back and keep it as low for our residents as possible.
Right.
And also, with you saying that, Mayor, Pompano Beach is looking to just looking to explore. They're trying to get, I know people in place right now, different people just to explore. RFPs, I think, just to explore. If the costs keep rising like that, would Deerfield Beach be willing to
look at the numbers?
Just look at the numbers, not saying, and I'll say it there, like I said before,
do
a study.
Okay.
I'm in favor of them staying. I remember the last time we had our Deerfield Beach police in, they was not very nice to us in the black neighborhood over here. They just wasn't. I would be supporting for BSO to stay, but would you, if the costs keep rising, would you as mayor be in favor at least exploring, not saying anything, just exploring?
Just to look at the numbers, just to look and see if we go back to our police department, how much will it cost? And as opposed to staying with BSO, I think that's the question that he would wants to ask you.
Yeah, I understand the question. I mean, I'm obviously going to be watching Pompano and their process very, very closely and keeping an eye on what they do and what their numbers show. But at some point, the rising, if the sheriff continues to pass on, unsustainable costs to the cities, at some point it's going to be it's going to affect our budget. It's not going to do so this year. But we're trying to keep costs in line. So without passing on a tax increase to the residents, we'll have to evaluate all the options going forward. I don't see any harm in looking at numbers and getting free information. But whether we actually go down that road or not, that's a different conversation.
And I think that's what all of the people, the taxpayers are saying. Hey, just look at the numbers. Nobody says we all like the police service that we're getting here. Nobody's saying, oh, we're going back to Deerfield. Most people that we talk to, they said, just look at the numbers like Pompano and look at the numbers and see what the numbers are. And we know we don't have the money in the budget to go back to our own police department. That would have to be like a bond or something like that just to
most likely
go back to your own police department. But that will, again, just I think what the people want is to look at the numbers because these costs are going up and a lot of people are worried about being ultimately taxed out of their homes. They won't be able to afford to live here anymore.
No, correct. And so that's something that we definitely have to keep an eye on. And so, making decisions based upon the best information available is the way to do it. And the way that you do that is knowing what all of the options are. So that's something that we're going to be looking at, but we're going to let Pompano do the heavy lifting for the time being. And see what that materializes and if it's worth it going forward. But we can't continue year after year after year to get these, 10, 20% increases from the sheriff's office over time. That's just going to be unsustainable for any budget.
Yes, it is.
Absolutely.
And that's all I was just making point of on that. I got another one that I asked Vice Mayor Preston. Mayor, the gate has been locked at the Johnny Tigner at Oviedo McKeithen Recreational Center, back at the Johnny Tigner Community
The
Center.
west side. The west
Yes.
side.
On the west gate.
Yeah.
I'm aware. Yes.
I just like to know, like I asked Commissioner Preston, Vice Mayor Preston, your thoughts on that gate, because I know I would say if you take a poll right now, I would say 90% of the residents over here, not just for access. Most people will probably say, a lot of them will say access, but public safety too, because it's like right now it's one way in and one way out. But that gate traditionally had been open. It was put there during the Dejan years, and it was put there for that purpose of public safety. And now that gate has been locked, and I just like to know your thoughts on that, and maybe you might know a reason why the gate is locked, because I know the residents over here definitely would like to know.
I do know why the gate is locked, and so I'd like to hear from the community their thoughts. But the reason that West Gate is locked is for public safety, because a lot of people from Natura, especially when there's traffic, are using Johnny Tigner as a cut through to get over to MLK and continue their journey. So it's creating traffic issues along Stanley Terrace there as a cut through, and so it's a safety issue because people are speeding. It's basically they're speeding on the roadways, and they're speeding through Johnny Tigner and along in front of Stanley Terrace to get to MLK in both directions. So that's why it's locked, is to prevent people from cutting through our park and using it as a raceway and a convenience for them and an inconvenience to the people that want to be in the park, and the children that are there, in the parking lot, and the people that go to the classes there that are parking and trying to get into the center, instead of getting run down by people that are trying to get to and from their destination faster than they need to. So that's why it's locked.
Okay, yeah, because we've just been trying to find out, and like I told Commissioner Preston, I think the majority of the people in the community, I know me for one, and I hear what you're saying about the safety issue, and I know I see people cutting in. I mean, I use it, but I think it's more important that I think that gate should be unlocked and stay open, close it at night or certain time of day. But I think it pretty much, I would like to see that gate back open, Mayor.
I mean, we can work with the community if there's certain times of the day that there's more access to the park that they would like to get in there from the west. I can talk to the city manager and our park staff about, maybe getting that open for certain times. But I mean, I don't want it to continue to be the raceway that it is. You and I will get some lawn chairs and go out and watch there one day. The car speeding through.
Mm-hmm.
You'd be surprised what's going on. So.
Yeah.
But if there's something that we can do and to help the community to access our park and their park, then certainly, we don't want people not to come to the park because they can't get in.
Right. And as far as back to the workshop, it's on July the 9th, and we have some people in the chat here saying that they want to know about local events for the residents. And I came to one of the commission meetings and I spoke up, and I believe Janet Mann Garner, she spoke up about the music soirees in the park. And then we'd like to see those in the budget. And a lot of people were concerned about the pre-prom, and we've been telling them on this podcast that the pre-prom is not a City of Deerfield Beach event. That started at the high school. And that's the Broward County. That's the Broward County School Board. It started over there. Somehow along the way, the city of Deerfield got involved with it on a smaller scale. But now a lot of people thinks that it is a city event, and we've been telling them that it's not. So if you'd like to touch on that a little bit, if you're concerned about the soirees in the park like I am, come to the budget hearings on July the 9th and ask the commissioner and the mayor and the city managers to put some money into the budget so that we can have these music in the park, so that we don't have to go to Pompano and Lauderhill and Fort Lauderdale. So, Mayor, what do you have to say about that?
And they need to come on pre-prom too, not just
pre-prom as well.
They need to come on all the issues like that.
I think we're working on some things behind the scenes to bring more music events to Deerfield Beach, smaller events, the soirees that you're talking about. So I think that's already in the works. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised on that issue. With respect to pre-prom, yeah, I mean that's always that should be a school board function because it's at the high school. So that's the school board not following through on its responsibilities. Wouldn't be the first time, but if that is a big concern to the community, then certainly let me know and we can approach our school board representative, Nora Rupert, because that really should be their function, and she should be following through and fighting for us. And if that's something the community wants, then we need to make that objection known to the school board that they need to follow through.
What's her name? Nora
Nora
Rupert.
Rupert,
We'd like to get her contact information and maybe have her come on the podcast and explain the pre-prom and how it started and why it's no longer at the high school. And maybe we could get her on the podcast and maybe we can have some people call in if they're interested in that. I know that's another topic, but I'd like you. What was her name again, man?
Nora Rupert.
Nora Rupert, Rupert is the last name. I don't have her contact information at my fingertips this second, but if you want to contact me offline later today or tomorrow, I'll be happy to give it to you.
Yes, absolutely.
We have it. We have every public official contact information.
Yeah, we have a lot
in
of
Broward County. We have it.
Yeah, we're not hiding from you guys.
No.
No.
And I got one. This is my last thing, and I'll let you get out of here unless Daryl have something
that's
else.
it. That's all I have. Go ahead.
On June 30th, Mayor, there's a meeting about the MLK drainage. That's going to be going on, and I think that's a very important meeting, being that I know what we saw some of the problems with the over by Deerfield Middle and in the Cove area over there with the drainage. I think that's a very important meeting that I hope everyone will come out June 30th at 7:00 at the Tigner Center. But what I wanted to ask you was on MLK, it also on the city's advertisement is also being proposed that MLK be downsized from a 4-lane to 2 lanes. And I just want to say this: Deerfield is a growing city. We're not shrinking. We're Vice Mayor Preston said earlier about almost 90,000 people right now. I know, remember it was like 85, but it's like 90. And I just want to say this: we don't need to be going backwards, shrinking a road. We need to be anything upgrading, definitely some of the lighting over there. I know I just answered a poll on the Deerfield City's website, so I would also ask everyone to go on the Deerfield Beach website, and they have a survey on there about the MLK. So I would hope everyone would go there. But I just want to say, I just ask that MLK not be made back into the dark ages as we were. The people here were begging decades ago when I was still in high school. And before that, I remember as a kid, they wanted to see that road expanded. It used to just stop right there at Deerfield Park, right? Well, the apartments had it used to stop right there back when I was a kid. But they want to go backwards and put that a 2-lane road. And I just ask you as mayor that you can listen to the public, but I just hope that we keep that road as a 4-lane road. And I'd just like to get your thoughts on that.
Okay. No, I mean, I certainly encourage the public to come out and express their opinion one way or the other on that project. I mean, listen, we're here to represent the community and what you guys want, not what we want. What we're here is your representatives. So I need to hear that. I will tell you the logic behind it is public safety. I mean, we've heard a lot of that tonight, public safety, but that is what municipal government is public safety. So if you remember from Dixie Highway to Federal Highway, Hillsborough Boulevard used to be 6 lanes. Now it's 4 lanes. So that was all intent to keep to slow traffic down. People have a tendency to speed, and I'll talk to you something if we have a second about the red light cameras. So
Go ahead.
people are
I was going
speeding.
to touch on that about the notifications because I heard a lot of that at the meeting last night about they wasn't getting, but I'll let you go on. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, so there's a lot of speeding going on in our city, and it's not just, excuse me, Deerfield Beach, but it's all of South Florida and the entire state. I mean, we picked up really bad habits as drivers post COVID, and that's continuing. So when you shrink the lanes, you naturally slow people down. That's the thought process to it. But if the community wants the 4 lanes, I mean that's a discussion that we need to have. But that's the logic behind it. So that I'm telling you, that's why it's being proposed that way. And then you can add more landscaping to the area and beautify it at the same time. But that's certainly a discussion we can have.
I mean, if you go back on MLK, I don't remember no one dying over there. I don't remember hardly any wrecks over there. I mean, and I really don't. So I hear public safety, but if people talking about speed, they speed all over this city. They speed on Dixie. They speed on Hillsborough. Yes, I know shrinking the lanes might make it go down, but that is not the answer for slowing traffic down on MLK. I mean, if the speed cameras during the school season don't slow them down, then they need to put more police enforcement out there. But going backwards to the dark ages of 2 lanes, I don't even know. I mean, I hear public safety, but that's not what this community needs to go back into the draconian ages on MLK over there.
And the BSO is asking for 10% increase, asking for 20 plus with Pompano. They should be able to afford to have some more motorcycle units out there to slow these people down. So that's just my take on that.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that coming a mile away. Yeah, absolutely. So, but listen, I'm not married to 2 lanes versus 4 lanes. I'm married to hearing what the public has to say and what they want to see there. So that's what I'm curious on hearing. So please come out on June 30th and make your opinions known. That's what we want to hear. Absolutely.
I know I said I was done, but I have one final comment. There's is the posted deputy city manager position and an additional position or a replacement for the assistant city manager position? I think the question is the posted deputy city manager position an additional position or a replacement for the assistant city manager position?
No, there's a vacancy No, I know there's a vacancy in the assistant city manager position right now. So the posting is to fill the vacancy. It is not a new position.
Okay. All right.
And also, Mayor, and we'll let you go off of this. I heard a lot of people the other night, last night, talking about the notifications. Will the city put those signs up to let people know? Because I know as we know, the cameras are turned off now. For school is out now, but when school starts, will the city put the notification? Because I saw the one lady came up there and she had I think she said she had 4 tickets. I felt bad for her, but I'm like, I mean, I saw the signs. I saw it on the city's website. I mean, they always say ignorance is no excuse for, what they say about that saying, ignorance of the law, it's no excuse.
No excuse, yeah.
But, will the city be putting signs up at least to let the people know that, or some media campaign to let the residents know that school will be back in and those cameras will be going back up?
Yes, absolutely. 100%. And let me just give a little, background information to your audience that may or may not know all the details to it. And I don't want this to be, a red light seminar, but the state legislature passed a statute that allowed municipalities, if they wanted to opt in and put in red light cameras in school zones only during school hours. So for 30 minutes before school begins and 30 minutes after school ends, and every time in between, and that's the key, you are subject to the red light camera. In the evenings or overnight, When there is no school, the cameras are off, and they're not working. They're not getting you cannot get a speeding ticket during that time. They may be on, but they're not giving speeding tickets. Let me clarify that answer. So you have to be going 11 miles an hour or more over the posted speed limit to get the citation. So 30 days before the red light cameras went into effect, there was a warning program that we had. We put it on the city's social media. We had the police signs that you see on the side of the road. So we put out as much information as we could. It was in the newsletters that go out electronically through the city as well. That hey, these cameras are coming, and they started in late May and went in and ended on June 3rd when the school year ended. So we'll have the Office of Public Safety, Mr. Gladio, come to probably, hopefully, the next meeting on July 8th and give us the numbers. But for that short period of time, from the end of May to June 3rd, there were well over 5,000 citations that were issued. That's
Wow.
5,000 people who are speeding 11 miles an hour or more. If you're speeding from 1 to 10 miles an hour or more, you didn't get it. So that doesn't include those people. It's just the people that were going 11 miles an hour or more over the speed limit. And so far, the top speeder during the school day was 77 miles an hour.
Wow.
You shouldn't be traveling that speed, at any time of the day, but let alone during school hours. So I'm a huge proponent of public safety. We've said it a lot tonight, and you're going to hear me say it a lot during the next 4 years, because that's what municipal government should be. But those cameras are doing exactly what they're intended to in school zones only, is to catch those that are speeding, and putting our children in harm's way.
Yeah, and Florida also just enacted a new law too. So if people speeding out there on the highways, if you're caught going certain speed now over 100, I think it's like 100 and something miles per hour, your license can be taken, suspended, and you can go to jail now.
Reckless driving.
Well, they just passed that. I remember that's definitely one of the laws that I think go into effect. I believe July 1st or either October 1st. It's one of them. I think it's July 1st, but speeders definitely better.
We got a list of laws.
Aware.
We can post all those upcoming changes. Somebody sent them to us, but we will post them on our site though.
Yep.
No, that'd be great information to share with your audience. Absolutely, yes. So,
Yeah,
I mean, you can tell that it's
absolutely.
not just a city issue. If the state legislature has to get involved, it's obviously a state issue that they're hearing statewide on these issues. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and rightfully so. And like I say again, I mean, I put it up on our page, and I just told everyone, still tell everyone, slow down. I mean, even when the camera's out, I'm so aware now that even I come through there and be forgetting, it slows me down now, just knowing that camera is there, and I know it's not active, but it's consciously, it just slows me down too. So I'm quite sure a lot of people out there probably thinking just like me. Well, the camera's not up, but slow down anyway. Just slow down a little bit more. I'm no speeder, but it just just make you think just to slow down either way. And we thank you again, Mayor, for coming on here. You're always welcome back.
Yeah.
You just a phone call away. You ain't never you ain't never got to ask when you coming back. You got me and Daryl number. You can always call anytime.
That was me calling you too, by the way. I don't know if you knew that was me. I was calling. I was like, I don't know if the mayor know that's me calling him. I said, let me text him and put my name in the text so you'll know. So
you're welcome back on here anytime. Anytime.
Careful what you wish for. I will be back.
We want you. The more information you can bring is better for our city as a whole.
Yeah. So in closing, tomorrow is June 19th. Tomorrow is Juneteenth. So I know a lot of people have the day off. Please, I tell everyone out there, please, if you're having the day off, that's great, and enjoy the day off and spend time with your family. But please just take a moment to remember what the Juneteenth holiday is and what it represents. The
Absolutely.
day, when all of us, became free. We made a lot of progress in this country. We have a long way to go. But please just remember what the holiday memorializes. It's not a free day off of work. There's a reason that we have it, and please remember why.
Well
Definitely.
said. Well said. We've been talking to Mayor Todd Drosky. He is the mayor of the beautiful city of Deerfield Beach. He wanted to come on and talk to our audience, and he has done so. And again, Mayor Todd Drosky, you're welcome back on this podcast anytime. All you have to do is send us a text and let us know when you're available, and we will make it happen. So
continued success. And I like how you're running the meeting. I want to say
absolutely.
that you're running them very professionally, and I don't see all that what I used to see. I'm talking about from the audience. I see they very well ran. Not saying it wasn't before, but the professionalism is definitely there. And I just pray that you keep that going.
Oh, thank you for the feedback. I appreciate it, guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Todd Drosky. And we will be talking to you in the near future really, really, really soon. So thank you, Mayor, and thank you for joining us here on our podcast, and have a wonderful rest of your evening.
You as well. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Good night, Mayor.
Good night.
Okay. Good night, everybody.